Hi, everyone. In the light of the coming Valentine's Day, but also my big 40th birthday, I wanted to share some love with you. I mean, by love, I mean some love and heart related expressions that perfectly work in business settings as well. And I'm going to show you exactly how they work in business settings, especially in some problematic situations. We'll be discussing love and money in a budget crisis presentation. Before we dive in, let's take a look at what we'll be discussing. So, I'm going to show you a sample business meeting so you can actually just take loads of these phrases and even whole sentences, common love and heart related business phrases that will come in really handy in your everyday, but also business life. You will learn how to navigate difficult conversations professionally, but also naturally. When we say professionally, we somehow think that we are supposed to be extremely formal, but this is not the case. Business English nowadays is far less formal than it used to be, and hence so many expressions, idioms, and phrasal verbs. We'll also be looking at how to propose solutions and find compromise, and we'll be using empathy and diplomatic language to maintain positive relationships during crises. Here, one thing that I want to draw your attention to, crises, it says here, is the plural form of crisis. So we say crisis, we say cis, crisis, and the plural is crises. So C's. You hear the difference? Crisis, crises. The same goes for uh, some nouns such as basis, one basis, two bases, or one analysis, two analyses. I know these differences are really subtle, but I thought this information might come in handy. So let's take a look at our business meeting dialogue. A tense quarterly review meeting where the marketing team must discuss cutting their flagship campaign due to budget constraints is the setting we'll be dealing with. A flagship is not a love-related phrase or a love-related word, but I thought this word is an absolute must. So what this means is simply the best or the most important thing owned or produced by a particular organization or a company. It functions as a noun or, like here, an adjective. So a flagship campaign. Right, let's get into the dialogue, shall we? Before we dive into the difficult stuff, I wanted to give you all a heartfelt thank you for the extra hours you've put in these past few weeks. I know the uncertainty has been stressful. I appreciate that, Sarah, and I wish I had better news, but we need to get to the heart of the matter. We're looking at a 30% budget reduction across all departments. Let's pause here for a moment and take a look at the vocabulary and maybe some grammar. If you give someone a heartfelt thank you, this means sincere, deeply felt. This is a formal but also very strong word. We often give someone a heartfelt thank you, a heartfelt thanks, in which cases thank you, and thanks are nouns. We can also talk about a heartfelt apology, so very deeply felt. Also, the heart of the matter, we need to get to the heart of the matter, is the most important or central part of an issue. We can also say, let's get down to the heart of the matter. Let's dive into the heart of the matter. So let's start discussing the most important, the crucial thing. Here, I also wanted to point out that after I wish, or if only, we need to go one tense back. So this sentence, I wish I had better results, is actually about the present, although the past tense is used. Think whenever we talk about an unrealistic or a hypothetical situation in English, we don't use the realistic tenses, so to speak. We need to go one tense back. So if you talk about the present, you should go with the past simple after I wish or if only. But let me jog your memory and remind you of the nasty conditionals. So the second conditional, which talks about the unrealistic present, is actually used with the past simple. And then if you want to talk about the past, you go one tense back into the past. So if you want to use it with I wish, you would say, I wish I'd had better news yesterday, for example. I had had, so the past perfect is used here. I've digressed a little bit, but that normally happens with me. Anyway, let's move on to the second part of this dialogue. I was afraid of that. Look, I know you have your heart set on preserving the R&D budget, Michael, and I get it. But cutting our campaign right before launch could cost us the entire year. Can we find a compromise? I mean, I wholeheartedly support both initiatives. There has to be a middle ground. If you have your heart set on something, this means that you want something very badly. You are really determined to do or achieve something. You have your heart set on something, a noun, or an ing form. Have your heart set on achieving something. Wholeheartedly is a wonderful adverb, wholeheartedly, which means totally, completely. It's a formal adverb, but we can also use it in less formal situations when we want to emphasize um, that we are very serious about a certain matter. So you can wholeheartedly support something. We also often say, I wholeheartedly agree with you. This sounds formal, but it's also very emphatic. Another thing I was meaning to mention here is the pronunciation of the before R&D. As you know, the is pronounced as the before consonant sounds, but it's pronounced as the before vowel sounds. And I'm emphasizing the word sound because in English it doesn't really matter how you spell words. What matters is the pronunciation. So because the letter R starts with a vowel sound, so it's R, or in American English, R. In certain versions of British English, they also say R. Anyway, the first sound is a vowel, so that's why we say the R&D. The R&D budget, the R&D standing for research and development. Middle ground is another interesting word or phrase that I thought would come in really handy, and this essentially means compromise. Right, if this all makes sense, let's take a look at the next part of this conversation. I've tried to find one, believe me. We couldn't secure that investor for love nor money. They've completely backed out after the market downturn. Then let's have a heart-to-heart here. What if we delay the campaign by 1 quarter instead of canceling it? We could run a smaller pilot program, prove the ROI, and then scale up when finances stabilize. If you can't do something, or if you wouldn't or couldn't do something for love nor money, this means that you can't do it. It's impossible for you to do it no matter what. Under no circumstances can you do it. I wouldn't be able to pull off a deal like that for love nor money. To pull off a deal, well, if you pull something off, it means that you manage to do something that's really tricky, really difficult. Then a heart to heart is an honest, open, direct conversation, usually about serious matters. A heart to heart can also function as an adjective. You can say a heart to heart discussion, a heart to heart conversation or talk, which means candid, personal, usually between close friends, but we can also use it in a business setting, just like this. I thought the word downturn would also be interesting for you. And what this translates into is simply a decline, or a reduction in the amount or success, usually referring to a downturn in the market or an economic activity. So it's very business oriented. To back out means to withdraw, to decide you are no longer willing to participate in something. Um, yeah. And also, well, I suppose you know the ROI. What this means is return on investment. I've heard a lot of people say return of investment, but actually it's not of, but on, return on investment. And finally, an interesting phrasal verb here is to scale up, which I'm pretty sure you know. If you scale up, you can scale up without an object, or you can scale up operations, you can scale up your business, and this means to increase. So it's used a lot in day-to-day business conversations. Now, let's continue, shall we? I don't know, Sarah. That still sounds risky given where we are right now. I know, but don't lose heart yet. I truly believe this campaign will work. We just need to be strategic about timing. I'm being open-hearted here. I genuinely think this is what's best for the company long term. To lose heart means to become discouraged or to give up hope, and we often use it to encourage someone not to lose hope. So we often say, don't lose heart. Interestingly, though, we don't use any articles with this. So this is a pretty easy idiom to use. Now, if we say that someone is open-hearted, it means that they are honest, candid, sincere. Candid is, I mean, I'm throwing in this word, but it means pretty much the same as honest. So like open, frank. Candid is a really nice word as well. I don't know if you're using it, but if not, why not try it out? I also thought that given is a link that's definitely worth uh, keeping on your radar. It means considering or taking into consideration. We can often use it with the fact, given the fact that, and as such, it's very easy to use. It's a formal link, but it's very easy to use when you want to emphasize the importance of something or when you want to sound more eloquent or more elegant, if you will. What's also interesting here is I'm being open-hearted here. We don't generally use the verb to be in the present continuous tense. Having said that, we sometimes do, but in that case, be doesn't actually mean to be a characteristic. It means to behave or act in a certain way, and in this case, we are using I'm being open-hearted here to emphasize this moment right now, but we usually use it if we don't want to offend someone or if we don't want to label them. For instance, if we tell someone you're being rude or you are being unreasonable or why are you being so unreasonable? We don't want them to think that we think they are rude or unreasonable, only that they are behaving in that way. So pretty much only in this case do we use be in the continuous tenses. Oh, and I also like genuinely. I don't know if you're using this enough. So genuinely instead of honestly just sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Right. Now let's take a look at the last part of our dialogue. Okay, I can work with a delay and the pilot program. That actually helps me balance the books without completely killing your team's work. Perfect. Send me the revised numbers by Friday and we'll adjust our timeline. Now, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna love you and leave you. I need to jump on another call with our agency to give them the heads up about these changes. Good luck with that conversation. Thanks. Let's regroup Monday with a solid plan forward. Now, one of my favorite phrases, the one that's confusing for loads of my students, is I'm gonna love you and leave you. We can also say I'll love you and leave you, like I will, but we always shorten it because it's not emphatic. We don't want to emphasize. So we say, now I'll love you and leave you. I need to drop off. I need to go. And this is what it essentially means. It translates as I have to go now. I have to drop. It's an informal phrase, but it's used in business English a lot with those people you have established a good rapport with, when you have a close connection with someone. If you're in a regular communication with someone, then this phrase is absolutely appropriate. It's really great. When you have to leave, you say, oh, look at the time. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna love you and leave you. I need to jump on another call. To jump on a call is also something really lovely, isn't it? And in case you're not familiar with a heads up, if you give someone the heads up, this essentially means um, let them know, notify them in advance. But it's way, way more natural to say to give someone the heads up than notify, because as I mentioned at the beginning of this lesson, we don't want to sound that formal in business English nowadays because we might come across as passive aggressive, especially if you talk to someone on a regular basis. You might be wondering why there is no on here. Let's regroup Monday. Regroup means set up another meeting, um, get together again. Yeah, we often drop on in casual speaking, in everyday speaking. So I can say, see you Monday, see you Saturday, or see you on Monday, see you on Saturday. Like one of my friends and previous English teachers likes to say, English is a lazy language. We like to leave things out. Right. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, and I really hope that some of these phrases will come in really handy. I've said that too many times already, come in handy. But this is a really great phrase. If you're not using it already, why not start now? And as you can see, love and heart-related phrases do appear in serious business talks. So try consciously using at least one of today's expressions in a real situation today, if you have a chance. So I'm wishing you a lovely, love-filled day and speak to you soon. Bye bye.